closely, there's two zippers there. There's an opening at the bottom because they took out a staple too early, my last surgery. I told them to put a staple back in, but yeah. So Crohn's disease. Look, see right here? It grows back. It's these weird, thank God it hasn't fucked up my hairline. My hairline's good. Everything else is good. But you can see right here, it's all got little bald spots. That's from vitamin deficiency. A few back here. These are good. I had a few back here. And all these back here taken out in a matter of 1 year. That was last year in 2020. And that's from vitamin D deficiency. So I had to start supplementing myself with vitamin D. I had to go get blood work. I had to stay on top of this Crohn's disease. I have malabsorption problems. I don't absorb the nutrients from the food properly. On top of that, in 2005, I had 1/8 of my small intestines removed. That was the first time I had my stomach stapled. Then in 2016, I had another 1/8 of my small intestines removed. I had my stomach stapled again. It was about 42 staples. In 2016, when I had my stomach stapled, it was an emergency surgery because my lower intestines had developed a connection to my upper intestines. So when I would eat, it would skip loops of bowel that I had to go through to break down into shit. It would skip all of that and just go straight to from my upper to my lower. It was creating septic problems. I had like a smell coming from the pit of my stomach. I'm a pretty boy. People that know me know I like to be hygienic. I like to be clean. I brush my teeth on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? I floss, all of that stuff. I don't like to stink or any of that. So I would always be trying chlorophyll, internal deodorizer, mints, mouthwash, gum all the time, and it just didn't work. And then they found out after 4 years of that septic smell and of diarrhea every day and throwing up and getting so skinny I looked like I was on crack. After 4 or 5 years of that, they finally did a certain MRI and found out it was a connection. And by then I was so bad that I was dying. And I was job hunting like that. I was working like that. I've had managers tell me that I stunk while I was like that. And like I say, this is not no sympathy story. This is because this all ties into why I make music. I'm 32 now. I was diagnosed with Crohn's when I was 11. So that was 2000. Yeah, in the year 2000, I was diagnosed with Crohn's. And it hit kind of bad. I was just not able to hold down food. Then they got me recovered. It wasn't too bad. And then I was skating at the time, and that's what this represents. So this tattoo is skateboard, skull and crossbones, but skull and 2 skateboards instead, because this represents death, and the death of me pursuing a skateboarding career was the beginning of me pursuing a music career, which I haven't quite gotten to yet, but we don't quit, we don't give up. That's the reason why I'm sharing this with everyone, because I kind of lost sight of why I even made music in the first place. I got caught up in this whole rigmarole, this whole cycle of just trying to do minimum necessary and, and linking up with people outside of the internet and doing shows here and there, and just doing minimum necessary to get my music out there. And I kind of just lost passion for it due to depression and PTSD from my last surgery. I was diagnosed with PTSD from my last surgery because I almost died before the surgery. And I got caught up in all of those mental blocks that I lost sight of why I even made music. So that's why I'm sharing this with y'all, because it's about fighting. It's about never giving up. It's about always finding a way through, moving like ghosts through obstacles. That's what I said in my song countless times. And you got to go through it to get to the other side. And yeah, so when I was 11, I used to skate. I used to skateboard heavy. I still skate to this day. I'm starting to go hard with it again, but definitely not to get sponsored, just because I just want to do a skate video. before I kind of just cruise around and don't really do much anymore while I'm still young. I started skateboarding heavily probably like around 11, 12. As a natural, I entered a contest like around 13, 14. I was born and raised in the Bronx, but I lived in Florida for a little while. We moved there when I was 11. I won 5th place in the contest in that small town of Deltona. And one of the skate shops that was, you know, sponsoring the contest was 2 older dudes. You know, they were older to me at the time. They were young, but they were older to me at the time. I think one of them was, Chris was 22, I think, and then Neil was probably like about 18. And you know, they took a liking to me, got real cool with them, and I ended up getting sponsored by the skate shop. Started skating heavily. We would go on skate trips to Miami. We even went to New York. And in the midst of all of that, you know, in the beginning, I went super hard and I started learning a lot of things really fast, learned a lot of tricks. But then, like, kind of in the middle of the Metro skate park days, and even Evan Smith, that's a pro skateboarder, that was my little homie back then. He remembers, I know he remembers that era. And kind of in the middle of that era, I started getting real lazy. And I hadn't started smoking weed yet. I quit smoking weed about a year and a half ago, but you know, I was smoking weed for about 14 years, but at that time I hadn't even started yet. So it wasn't weed. It was just some sort of lackadaisical, some sort of lack of energy, some sort of, you know, and it ended up being the Crohn's later on. You know, not to use it as a crutch, but you know, that was the beginning of me learning how the gut is a second brain, how it affects your mental, you know, and I didn't realize it at the time. I thought I just was blah about skateboarding, you know, so I would just kind of half-ass it. And this was around the time when I started skating in a lot of the new dunks that was coming out, because my team manager, Chris, knew a Nike rep and was going to try to get me a video part together so I could get, you know, on flow for Nike SB. This is when Nike SB first came out. I was probably about 14, 15, so this was probably about like 2003, 2004. I was skating in a lot of the rarest dunks that, you know, sell for like thousands of dollars now. You know, and I was just a skatehead. I didn't care. I would fuck them up, you know, and yeah, I ended up back in the hospital again, I think like around 16 years old. But in the midst of all of that, I always wanted to rap. I always wanted to make music. My step pops, you know, my step pops was like a hipster, but he was Haitian. You know, he was a black dude, and but he was like a hipster from the like a '90s version of a hipster. But even though he was, you know, nice version of a hipster, he was completely into his black culture and into, you know, not only listening to like Luther Vandross and Earth, Wind and Fire and stuff, but listening to Tribe Called Quest, listening to Leaders of the New School. And the first cassette he ever bought me, I was 8 years old, and it was the cassette of the song Victory with Biggie and Busta. But yeah, so long story short, I always had it in me to want to rap, to want to make music. I just didn't connect I didn't connect that idea and think that I was capable of it, because in my mind at that time, you gotta understand, this is before Pharrell got popping, before Kanye got popping. So in my mind, I thought you had to be like a gangster, you had to be a street dude to rap. You know, one of the dudes I would see growing up in the Bronx, you know, running around in nice cars and stuff, I would think you had to be one of those guys to be able to rap. And I remember even telling my mom when I started skateboarding, I saw that Kanye had first come out with Through the Wire, and that was when I was sponsored, and I think I was about like 15 years old, and Pharrell was already out at that time. And when I saw dudes that was different and that was skateboarders or that were into fashion, that was different like me, but could still rap, it made me want to rap. So I started listening to certain songs and I would just tune out the lyrics and write my own rhymes. And I told my mom that I wanted to rap, and she laughed. She said, "Please, boy, you're not gangster. You're not hood like that. You grew up in the Bronx, but you're not hood like that." You know, and it's not to her fault. My mom's very supportive of my music to this day, and it just at the time to be a different type of character other than a street nigga and making hip hop music was foreign to people, you know, because Pharrell was still new. Kanye had just come out. So I went back to skateboarding, and then I ended up having a Crohn's flare up again. And I ended up in the hospital because I couldn't hold any, not even just food down. I would throw up everything. Even if it was water, I drink water and I throw it up. I couldn't hold nothing down. So they started putting a PICC line in me, which is an IV that goes from your elbow all the way into your heart. Long ass IV. And I was probably about like 15, 16. And they were feeding me through that. They were feeding me lipids and fats to keep me, you know, protein, nutrients, feeding me through that, and basically giving my bowels a rest for about 2 months. So I couldn't eat or drink anything for 2 months. And it was, of course, you know, for anybody, especially a young teenager, it was very heavy on my mental, on my psyche, on my emotional. But I listened to music, and you know, I would play Dilla Donuts. I was playing that a lot. I was playing Metal Fingers Doom, you know, all those instrumentals. And I didn't know that this was starting the foundation for who I am today as a music artist. I had no idea. You know, I'm listening to instrumental albums, having no idea I was going to make beats later on. I'm listening to Dilla Donuts, having no idea I was going to make beats. So then in the midst of all of that music, I'm listening to Kanye, and something magical came over me when I was at my wit's end. It was probably about like 3 weeks in of the 2 months, and I was stressing. I was drawing detailed pictures of food. I wanted to eat so bad, and you know, I was stressed out, and I remember something magical happened. It was like I got a gust of extra power and ability to believe in myself enough to get through that situation when I heard Through the Wire again, and heard it in a different way this time. All of a sudden, I could really understand the main few bars that he had in there, where he says, I drink a Boost for breakfast and Ensure for dessert. Somebody order pancakes, I just sip the scissor. He's saying he basically can't eat because his jaw's wide shut. So he got to drink a Boost for breakfast and Ensure for dessert, and he can't even eat the pancakes. He got to drink the syrup. You know, and he's saying that right there could drive a sane man berserk. And I was about to go crazy from not being able to eat. So that relatability and that magic of those words in that rhyme scheme, in that flow pattern, combined with that fire beat, was some sort of magic. It was some sort of spell that woke something up in me, and I was able to get through that situation, and a light bulb turned on in me, and I said, you know what, I don't care what mom says, that I gotta be some gangster or whatever, and if I'm, you know, if I'm not some gangster, I shouldn't be trying to be a rapper. I don't care about that. If Kanye could do it, I could do it. And besides, I want to do this for other people. Whatever he made me feel right there, that type of magic power, superpower that he just gave me through that song and through those lyrics, I want to be able to do that for other people. And I can't really do that through skateboarding. I will have to make music. That's the only way. And that was when I decided I want to be a rapper, and you know, the rest is history. I started learning how to use Logic Pro, Reason, and then Logic Pro. Started going to Full Sail for music. They were trying to get me, these engineers that had already graduated. They were, you know, and my boy Jari, they were trying to get me to put together a whole album so I could meet Jimmy Iovine at Interscope to possibly get signed. And I had just started making beats. I was stacking loops. That's how little I knew about making beats at the time. I wasn't even actually playing. Like now I play synthesizers. I create custom synthesizers, drum patterns, all of that. At the time I was just stacking loops like GarageBand, but it was in Logic. And already, you know, I had that. They heard that in me, you know, and was trying to shop me the record label then, you know, and I turned it down because they started telling me rap it this way, rap it that way, you know, say this like this, say that like that, and I was headstrong. I'm a real artist, you know. I'm really big into being my own person as an artist. So I went on a journey on my own, and 13 years, 14 years later, 13 years later, you know, I'm here. And most people would have gave up at this point, you know, but I'm not. And especially not now. And this is why I'm doing this video, to let people know why I even make music. I mean, make a career out of doing what you love to do would be, it's a beautiful thing. I would love to do that. You know, I'm gonna be excited when I get to that point, but you know, it's a deeper reason why I do this, you know, and I need to let people know that, because you know, I just got out the shower now after this. You know, this is like another surgery, you know, where I had to get a vein that opened up. So they basically had to cut a piece of my ass cheek, and it's a deep gash. I just looked at it in the mirror just now. I just did my surgery this morning, and it's a deep gash. And this is the second time I've had this done. I had it done on my right side, on my right ass cheek, like about a year and a half ago. And I even, when I sat down in the hospital toilet seat and the blood came out into the toilet, I took a picture of it and I used that as my artwork for my next song. As soon as I got out, the first song I made when I got out, and I performed that song at the Ruthless show. It's called Sorcerer. See, I think a lot of people don't know the origin story, so now I gotta start telling people, because it's time. You know, I've had a lot of spiritual revelations that's showing me like I'm meant to be the next biggest influential artist since Kanye. It's about to come full circle, like, and it's time. So this is the beginning. This is the first chapter, and it's tying into, you know, mental health. I'm in the shower now, just now, taking out all the gauze from the surgery from this morning, and I'm pulling it out, and it's almost like a magic trick. Like when they pull that long handkerchief out their fucking sleeve, I'm pulling it out, and more the gauze is coming out, and it's just feeling weird. And I'm looking in the mirror, and it's a deep gash, and I'm pulling all it out. It's blood, and I gotta, you know, it's a whole high maintenance process. I had to take out off of work for 2 weeks just to be able to go through all this, you know what I'm saying, for health reasons, keep my health right. I just started skating again. You know, I was gonna do a full skate part over this summer, and I still am. You know, even if I gotta film through the fall, because I'm not letting nothing stop me. You gotta get to a point. Sometimes you need to take a lot of L's. Sometimes one L is not enough for some personality types and character types. Every different strokes for different folks. Some people, they don't need any L's. They're already motivated to get that W. Some people, they need 1 or 2 L's and then they get motivated to get that W. Some people, like other people like me, they need a whole fucking barrage of L's for over almost 2 decades till they finally get beyond fed up. You know, if you're not going full blown for what you want in life, it's because you're not fed up enough. That's really it. Sometimes you gotta hit your face. You gotta walk into a fucking brick wall 100 more times before you get fed up to the point where you're like, you know what? Fuck all of this. You know what I'm saying? I'm putting it all on the line. I'm putting it all out there. You know, and that's where I'm at now. I'm letting it all go. So this is just the beginning. I got a lot more to unravel. Like I said, we're gonna have some discussion. I'm gonna share with you some of my experiences of what I learned about the chemical aspects of mental health, and how the gut is a second brain, and how you can even control your anxiety and depression by what you put in your body, what you put in your stomach. I'm going to talk about the situational aspects of mental health, you know, like going through certain situations and how to deal with that. Yeah, and then of course, a lot of new music on the way. This situation alone, see, I look at it glass half full. You know, I'm getting an opportunity for these 2 weeks or more to work on my craft, work on my music, and while I'm at it, you know, I'm going through this situation, and it's pushing me to go harder than ever. I've made one of the most fucking fire beats I ever made in my life the other day because of this situation. Because I feel like I'm backed into a corner, and it's almost like an animal backed into a corner. They're going to start fucking showing you their sharp ass teeth, you know. So new music on the way as well, definitely. You know what I'm saying? My name is Zeph Solis. Some people, my family know me as EJ. Some people know me as Eli. A lot of people that grew up with me in the Bronx or that skated with me in Florida. Eli. Some people know me as Elijah. Some people used to know me as Sky Solis. But the world may know me as Zeph. Zeph Solis.
Was feeling like shit, now I'm feeling myself, what we about to do? Like the name of veins, no turning back, now I'm on the move. Was feeling like shit, now I'm feeling myself, what we about to do? Love ups and downs, concrete ways that I'm surfing through. Juice what I got for all this swerve, whoa. Cartoon prisons all over this earth, whoa. Steady stretching, dipping this shit to the turns, whoa. Gotta live and learn when this get burned, whoa. Wiping with the tears, gotta charge it for the sweat. But you know the blood stains ready out of my brain. And you running on pain, and if I want it strange, try to cover her fangs, smelling lady blue swing.